of the week: quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end. And accordingly, guys, let's get after it, kicking things off with our quarterback riser. And yeah, you guys can probably guess it. Derek Carr can't go freaking down the street without neighbors telling you how great the Saints offense and Klint Kubiak are these days. So, Dwain, talk about how high you are rising Derek Carr, because he's playing like the best quarterback in the league, but are we really treating him as one of the best pocket passers like the Mahomes or CJ Stroud, or maybe a little bit more so in that Jared Goff, Joe Burrow range of things?
Yeah, more in that Jared Goff, Joe Burrow range, like he's that true pocket passer. But I think we have to react. Spent a lot of fab money last night on Derek Carr. And the reason why is Klint Kubiak. We're believers in what he's doing. Like the cheat code buttons that he's pushing, Ian, have been working for the last 3 seasons. So there is sustainable success that can be had from the way that they're operating this offense. They've obviously got to stay healthy, but right now Derek Carr's averaging 22 fantasy points per game, and he hasn't had to lift a finger in the second half of a football game yet because they've been destroying everyone. So while the efficiency is probably going to come down some, it's probably not going to regress to the mean that many people are thinking. There's a new mean in town for the New Orleans Saints, and that's what we got to figure out. What's the actual mean for this team, right? It's not going to be back to the NFL average, guys. And we've seen this with guys like Brock Purdy. We've seen this with players in this scheme and how much it can matter. We've even seen Matthew Stafford have that explosion year a few years back under Sean McVay. So it looks like we're going to have one of those kind of years. I'm thinking that the closest thing I can think to this, Ian, is probably going back to, I think it's 2016 Atlanta, when Matt Ryan went bonkers in a similar kind of role under Kyle Shanahan, was the QB 2 or 3 that year. Everybody kept thinking, oh no, this can't happen. This can't happen. It happened all year long. So I think you got to get on board with this. I have him as my QB 10 this weekend. So I definitely look at him as a low end quarterback 1 the rest of the way, but you've got a nice matchup here, against the Eagles, who we thought maybe they fixed their secondary. No, they haven't. Their secondary is still terrible. They've got an offense that won't have AJ Brown most likely, but it's still going to be good enough to stay in the game, hopefully, and push the Saints. If we ever get a game where Derek Carr's going to actually play in the second half and throw the ball in, we're probably looking at a 300-yard passing game. So I want to be in on Carr, whether that's the waiver wire, and definitely in my starting lineups this week. I would put him in over Fields. I'd put him in over Purdy. Well, you guys can go check out the Fantasy Life ranks, and you can read for yourself. The other 9 quarterbacks I would start ahead of Derek Carr. Everyone else is behind him.
As Dwain said, Derek Carr, his QB 10, my QB 13, Freedman QB 12. So we are all pretty much on the same page with him as a borderline QB 1. But my God, Freedman, we're talking about a guy that is first in the EPA per dropback, first in CPOE, PFF pass grade, passer rating, yards per attempt. At what point do you start looking at this and, to Dwain's, Matt Ryan example, say, hey, this is looking like one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the league on a team that right now is sure looking like someone that can make the playoffs? I can't believe I'm saying this, Freeman, but are Derek Carr MVP odds something that you're interested in right now?
Give me one more week. I'm not going to jump off of that mountain just yet, but I will say it's been super impressive what we've seen to this point. And the big thing, and Dwain mentioned this, is that it's not just random in terms of he's been hot. It's that they are scheming things wide open. It's a top-down type of change in that you have Klint Kubiak there, who is pressing buttons. Last year they were number 32 in play action rate. This year they're number 1. They are just making life easy on Derek Carr. Some of that has been the matchups, right? Week 1 going against the Panthers, that hardly counts. Week 2, Kubiak going against Mike Zimmer, whose defense he knows from the time he spent with him in Minnesota. This week, another great matchup going against the Eagles, who are number 29 in defensive pass DVOA last year, who had 3 new cornerbacks in that system, or 3 new starters rather in the system, and on short rest coming off of Monday Night Football. Derek Carr, if he was on waivers earlier this week, he's probably not now. I imagine everyone has grabbed him up for at least one more week. I think he continues just absolutely to crush.
Literally 3 or 4 weeks ago, people were calling out for Spencer Rattler to get this job. Funny how quickly things can change in the NFL. All right, guys.